Hey everybody, welcome back. I wanted to do a quick video for a couple of reasons. One, it's been a couple weeks since the last video. I've just been slammed with work, and I haven't even had time to shave. So I actually had made a couple videos. I just haven't had time to edit them, which I like to do, even though they don't necessarily look edited. It just takes a long time to kind of go through and edit. This one I'm going to edit minimally because I just want to kind of go through it quickly. Since I've been here now, I guess 3 months. Yeah, I guess like 3 months now. I wanted to do another budget video and to just talk about that a little bit. So what I did was, for December, I've been keeping track of everything I buy. And I don't see that changing for the next 20 days. So what I've done is I've just kept track for the first 10 days, and then I'll just multiply it by 3. Because pretty much my days are pretty similar. So there's not gonna be a lot of, if there's any variation, it'll just be maybe like $20 or $30 one way or the other. I don't see a massive change here. So, but what I did do was I just kept track of, I kind of broke it down into categories. I'm not going to give you the total for each category. I'll just give you the total. But I kept track of, basically my categories were restaurants, which when I first got here, I was eating out maybe twice a day. And now it tends to be about once a day, I would say. I tend to make something at home, which leads me to the next category, which is convenience stores. So I am buying more stuff at the convenience store, just so I have something that I can cook. So I try to cook something at home, and it's not, as I said in the last video, this isn't a budget channel. My retirement goal is to basically eat what I want, do what I want, and not have to worry about the money part of it. So just to recap, I'm here on a retirement visa for the year, and I have to go back to the United States next year, and I'll be there for like 14 to 16 months, something like that, and then I decide where I want to retire. This is an exploratory year for me, so I'm just kind of playing around with budgets just to kind of see how much different places might be. So I'm in Phnom Penh right now, and yeah, since I've been here for a couple of months, I feel like I'm settling in a little bit more into a regular routine in terms of how much I would actually spend realistically if I was living here. Okay, so like I said, I've got restaurants, I've got convenience stores, I have beer, which was surprisingly less than I thought it would be. I have tuk-tuks, which for transportation. I have a transportation budget, and I spent less than $5 in the first 10 days on that. So I don't take a lot of transportation. Not a lot of places I go. And when I do go someplace, it's usually about $1. So coffee shops. Now coffee shops, actually, I rack up a pretty significant tab. It's because I go out. I only go there once a day, but I get an iced latte usually, and it's right across the street from me is a bakery that is it's one of the best bakeries I've been to. It's a Japanese bakery. Everything that I've had there is great. So I always like to get something that I just put in my fridge and then have if I want like a snack later. So I have the iced latte and then a snack. Sometimes I'll buy something extra for somebody else. So, and it's not, the thing is, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, all of these can be cheaper than they are. The coffee shop, for example, that I go to, it's pretty pricey for Phnom Penh, but I like it. So again, it fits into my criteria being, I just want to go to places I like. I want to eat food I like. I don't want to have to pinch and save and try to figure out, how to cut back on anything. So I'm doing what I want to do and then seeing where the chips fall. That's pretty much my strategy right now. That'll give me a good sense when I do retire of what a realistic budget's going to look like. So All right, so all of those together, obviously restaurants is probably my most expensive category. I would say coffee, the coffee shop is probably my second most expensive category. And then convenience stores would be third. So, and then beer would be fourth and tuk-tuks would be fifth. Now, I'll talk about some other categories in a minute, but if I just look at that, that's my basic. That's before I add on anything else. If I take the basic expenses and multiply it by 3, because I'm just looking at a 10-day expense spreadsheet, multiply that by 3, I come up with $827.19. Okay, $827.19. That's for eating out, doing what I want to do, eating what I want to eat. Now, let me just talk about that a little bit too, because there are kind of tiers, I guess, in terms of the food that I eat. So, for example, there's a Thai restaurant that I go to, and I love it. And it's a great place for dinner, and it fills me up. A plate of, it's the, stir-fried basil with pork, a plate of rice, and a drink is $4.50. So that, for me, that's on the low end. You can find cheaper. You can find street food. You could find local restaurants that are cheaper. But that's probably, for me, that's probably about the low end. It's $4.50. Great meal. I want to go to an Indian restaurant or an Italian restaurant, something like that, something that's not local. You know, I guess I would characterize it as maybe like a little more higher end in some ways. That tends to be about $10. That's probably the kind of place that I eat the most, at a place that kind of falls into the $9 to $11 range. And then there's a steak place that I go to that I love, and I go there once a week. Sometimes I go there twice a week. Everybody in there knows me because because when it first opened, it's hard to find good steak here, and my experience in Southeast Asia, it's either sometimes really, really expensive, or it's just really cheap and not very good. And this place I find to be extremely reasonable. I'm just looking down here. I ate there, I guess it was yesterday. Yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. $15.84. And that's like with a steak, a salad, French fries, and a drink. I mean, to me, that's a great bargain. And I love it. And it fills me up, and it's a good meal. So for the month, I would say, let's say $827.19. If I multiply the first 10 days by 3, then my rent, $580, my electricity, $210. So the basics add up to be $1,617.19. That's less than I was anticipating, I think. I mean, for the kind of lifestyle that I like, yeah, I don't do anything like extravagant, so I'm not, but that doesn't include any travel. There are a lot of things that doesn't include, okay? So I'll get to that in a minute. So I do have an add-on for medical, for insurance, not medical stuff, for insurance. And the insurance, what I have is kind of for, like a catastrophic insurance. So that if something really terrible happens, I'll be covered. Now, I'm not going to name the place just because it's like, I don't know if they're good or not. So I did a lot of research, and the problem is that every insurance company has terrible reviews online. So I kept going back and forth, and I finally just decided on this place. But it's $79 a month. It gives me a little bit of peace of mind. Like, I don't think any insurance gives me peace of mind because I don't trust them. So I don't trust, like, turning in a legitimate claim and actually not having to put up a battle to get money back. And that's based on my own experience of having good insurance for most of my life, and sometimes having to battle with insurance companies over things. So $79 for that. And then finally, I have an eSIM for my phone, and that's $15 a month on average. You can get cheaper you can get a cheaper SIM card. But when I got here, I had an eSIM. It works for me. So if I add those add-ons to the budget, then it's $1,711.19. And I would say that's a pretty good base. So I do see a specialist in town, and it's an endocrinologist. And it's just because it's difficult to get appointments for that particular specialist back in the United States where I live, because I think there's only like one or two for a fairly large population. So it's like months and months booked out in advance. I'm not going to add that in. I feel like that's something that's going to be specific to different people in terms of, and I've already talked about medical stuff before, but yeah, I mean, and even with that, I've managed to, the first time I went in, the doctor had me do some blood work at the clinic where she's at, and the blood work was extremely expensive there. And so I talked to her and I just said, let me know what blood work you need done, and I'll just get it done. Like there are places around me, there are a bunch of places around me where you could just go and get blood work done. And so the last time I went and got blood work done, I think it was like $20, $25 or something like that for a fairly extensive panel of blood work. So I felt, like that's out of pocket. That's kind of a bargain. I think the consultation with her is about maybe $80 every time I see her, which is like discounted because I don't have like a proper insurance. I just have the catastrophic insurance. So I pay for out of pocket for that. But again, all of that's worth it for me in terms of, I figure even if I'm here for a year, that'll be probably the equivalent of my deductible that I would pay back in the United States. So it's not, I think I have like about $1,000 deductible on my insurance in the United States. So it's not a big deal. The other thing that's not added in is travel. So depending upon what kind of travel you want to do, if you want to do local travel, if you want to go to Thailand, you want to go to Vietnam, or you want to go someplace further like Hong Kong or Japan, I mean, all of that's going to be, that's going to vary depending upon what you want to do and how long you want to stay there. I will in 2026, I plan on taking trips, and I'll keep tabs of that so that you can add that in and kind of get a sense of how much your budget would be plus the travel. So, but right now I would say as a base, $1,711. If you want to round that up to $2,000, I say $2,000. For me, $2,000 gets me a very nice, although some people would disagree, as I learned in the comment section. For me, a nice 2-bedroom apartment, a very large apartment that I'm happy with, that suits my purposes, and I pretty much do what I want to do each day. There are no restraints on myself. So that's, I think if you're dating somebody, that's going to raise the cost. I am happily single at the moment, so I have no additional cost in that regard. I do, sometimes when I go out, I buy drinks for people. It's, I've gotten to know groups of people. I've gotten to know, with some friends, and I like to buy drinks for people. I like to buy meals for people. So that's, I haven't really added that in here, but it's kind of negligible. It's, like what would that be? Maybe like an extra $30 a month. I don't know. So I'm happy with that as far as like a budget goes. I think, you can, and then if you look at it, depending upon your own needs, my apartment is more expensive than, a lot of apartments, in the sense that if you get a 1-bedroom apartment, you could get a nice 1-bedroom apartment for $350, I would say. So that knocks $220 off the budget. If you're really tight with money, you could have a $100 apartment. So that would save you $480. If you want to cook at home, that saves you money. If you eat more local food, that saves you money. If you don't drink, that'll save you money. I mean, one thing is I don't smoke, so that saves me money, you know. Yeah, the coffee shop. I really rack up a bill with the coffee shop, so that's something that you could definitely cut back on. So I don't know. It's gonna vary person to person. When I watch these videos, one of the things I always look for is this person in the video living the kind of lifestyle that I would live? And I have to say, oftentimes I wouldn't find those videos. I tended to find videos that were either people trying to save as much money as possible, which is not my goal. It's not, I'm not looking to live as cheaply as possible. And there's no judgment against people who do that. I think like that's, as I've said in other videos, everybody has their own criteria and their own circumstances. And if you want to do that, I think that's great. And then there are the videos where people are just kind of out partying and doing a lot and doing, like spending a lot kind of on that end of things. And I'm not that person either. I'm not like a big partier. I'm not a big, I'm not going to be at, clubs at night. And then there are lots of videos with people with families, people with kids, or even people without kids but who are married, and it would be like a two-person budget video. All right, I hope this video was helpful. I hope if you're interested in living a lifestyle similar to the kind of lifestyle that I'm living, which is not extravagant but not, trying to save as much money as possible, that this at least gives you a little bit of insight into how much it would cost to live in Phnom Penh. And you can kind of add and subtract from there depending upon what your needs and what your criteria is. So, all right, I will catch you on the next video, and stay tuned. All right, if you like this, please hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. All right.